We know the circle of life. The animals at the bottom of the food chain are feeders for their predators. There are very few creatures that don't have predators. The list includes the likes of hyenas, big cats, and large reptiles. But what if I told you there exists a frog that is every predator's nightmare? We are talking about the invincible cane toad. The cane toad became relevant some 80 years ago when it spread to more than 20 countries. Predators on every continent have been trying to eat them for decades, but all in vain. Heck, no animal even knows what this little toad tastes like except for the cane toad itself. Welcome to Top Feed. Hit that subscribe button and like button now, and let's find out more about the cane toad and why it will never be eaten. Cane toad's story starts some 80 years back in Australia. Obviously. But surprisingly, these weird, slimy amphibians were native to the country. You see, back in the 1930s, when the US was struggling with the Great Depression, Australia was having another type of depression. The country was trying to deal with sugarcane beetles, which were destroying their crops in the northern, more tropical parts of the country. In 1935, after some questionable research, someone thought to import about 100 cane toads because they supposedly would devour these beetles. The totally irrelevant cane toads now had a new mission: to eliminate pests. Weird how nature works, right? The sugarcane industry's fate rested on these guys' slimy shoulders. Researchers soon discovered the beetle population was not declining as much as planned, but instead, the population of cane toads started booming. The brightest brains on the planet didn't take one thing into consideration. It turns out the toads couldn't jump high enough to catch the beetles. How funny is that? There was another problem, which ultimately became way bigger than the beetles problem. It is estimated just 102 toads were imported to Australia to solve the sugarcane problem. What the researchers didn't know, or forgot to consider once again, is that there are no natural predators of the toad in Australia, or anywhere for that matter. And what did that lead to? Well, if you have seen my other video, you would know nothing good happens in the end. The cane toad population has multiplied to epidemic proportions, and it is estimated that more than 1.5 billion cane toads are hopping around the Australian continent, wreaking havoc on the ecosystem. And why is that? The cane toad should have been a new, delicious meal for the predators who love to feast on toads and other amphibians. Imagine your favorite burger joint comes up with a new burger with special meat from South America. Toad meat! Oh, okay, maybe you wouldn't try it, but the toad lovers definitely would. Predators did try to hunt this toad species, but the cane toads were ready. Heck, these toads were so confident they wouldn't even move when other animals, including snakes and alligators, tried eating them. The reason for that are poison glands. Cane toads are highly toxic. They have large swellings called parotoid glands on each shoulder behind their eardrums. This is why they carry their milky white toxin. The glands look like disgusting pimples. Their skin and other glands across their backs are also toxic. When these toads feel any threat, their security system is triggered right away. It's like popping pimples, except the contents of your pimple won't kill you, except for the pimple in the triangle of death. The poison, called bufatoxin, contains several different chemicals, such as bufogen, which affects the heart. If ingested, this venom can cause rapid heartbeats, excessive salivation, convulsions, and paralysis, and can result in death for many native animals. An interesting fact about these weird toads is that the Choco Indians of Western Colombia used to milk these toads by placing them in bamboo tubes over an open fire. Concentrated poison trickled into a bottle, and the dangerous substance was smeared over arrowheads and blowgun darts for hunting and survival purposes. The cane toad epidemic is a serious one. Maybe not more than the COVID-19 pandemic, but still pretty serious. You see, cane toads just don't have any predators that would decrease their population. What's worse is they breed almost any time of the year and lay eggs between 8,000 and 30,000 at a time in long strings in fresh water. If you think other animals would feast on their babies, then you have another thing coming, my friend. Both eggs and tadpoles are also poisonous. So in every stage of life, these toads are indigestible. Now, there are more than 1.5 billion of these toads just in Australia. This spells bad news for Australia and other countries' native species, as they haven't had time to adapt to these toad toxins. A dog who swallows a cane toad poison just has 10 to 15 minutes to live. Snakes? Even less than that. However, it's not all bad news, and fortunately, there are some animals, or should we say insects, who go one-on-one with these toads and emerge victorious. Meat ants. No, I don't mean go and meet the ants. I'm talking about meat ants. These tiny beings are basically the foot soldiers in a war against cane toads. Like the old woman who swallowed the spider to catch the fly, Australian scientists are hoping the native meat ants will eat the cane toad. The reason behind it is very simple. Well, maybe not that simple, but I'll try to streamline it. Cane toads don't actually have a defense strategy except for just sitting there and letting the glands work and let the predator walk off. The meat ant is a notoriously aggressive and abundant insect that is known to consume anything edible, including, you guessed it right, cane toads. These are no normal ants. Researchers have found that the cane toad's poison doesn't affect these meat ants, and because the cane toad doesn't move when attacked by the predator, it's easy for the ants to devour their delicious organs. Scientists are now finding a way to put these two creatures in the same habitat more often so the multiplication of the cane toads can be slowed down. There's another animal that has learned how to feast on the cane toad without digesting the poison and dying a painful death. We are talking about the water rats. If you don't know what that is, water rats are one of Australia's largest rodents. They are highly intelligent creatures. In fact, you might as well call them doctors. The rats, which can grow over 1 kilogram, are the only mammal found to specifically target large toads, neatly dissecting the toads with a surgical procedure to eat their hearts and livers while avoiding the poisonous skin and glands. Have you ever heard anything like that? If you think these rats have found the best way to feast on cane toad, then you're in for a surprise once again. Our clever crows aren't behind in the toad-eating race. They have learned how to make a meal of cane toads by avoiding the poisonous parts. Crows avoid contact with the ooze by grasping them by the limbs and roll the toads onto their backs. Crows know which bits to eat, fleshy thighs, tongues, intestines, and how to get at these from below without contacting the lethal parts. Some birds even throw stones or other things on the toad to threaten it so the toad can shoot and exhaust the poison in the glands. This way, the birds have a lesser chance of having contact with the poison and more with the delicious flesh of the cane toad. Nature really is terrifying, yet beautiful. You have seen that a few animals have found their way to feast on the cane toad. However, the majority of the predators are still evolving and learning new ways to hunt and consume the amphibian. At the same time, the population of the cane toad keeps on increasing by the day. Is it too late, or can we still save the world from a toad takeover? I guess only time will tell. And that's all for today. Do you think cane toads can be stopped? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Also, if you enjoyed this, please click the like and share buttons. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss amazing content from Top Feed. See you!